offer the best grooming products for you. Yes, all natural and handcrafted too. We wanna help be your swagger, style, class, and luxury. Make our products tailor-made for you with high quality. Yeah. So get in style with the black, yeah. Grooming company. To give you swagger, style, class, and luxury. In luxury, yeah. The black gentleman, yeah. Company. To give you swagger, style, class, and luxury. In luxury, yeah.
Located at www.theblackgent.com.
Yo. What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back. Welcoming you to Nerds on Culture with Stormybman for this Monday, March 17th, 2025. This is number 117 in the series of Nerds. And this evening we are featuring Grindhouse, Death Proof, Planet Terror from 2007. A couple of films that were made on the Grindhouse label with Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino heading up the directorial duties. These two films came out at a time when we were looking for something different in the movie theaters, and they did not disappoint. It was a double feature made in the fashion of the old films from the early to mid 70s, where they called it Grindhouse theater back in those days and times. And they brought this into the 2000s, man, even with a lot of heavy film grain on the visuals and some of the special effects, trumped up action and violence. And we were there for it, and it was a great day at the theater. If you had a chance to catch this in the theater, what an experience it was. And so we're going to talk about these two films this evening, and we had a chance to see some of our favorite film stars in these films. Kurt Russell, we had Michael Biehn, Josh Brolin, Rosario Dawson, just to name a few. And like I said, both films, Planet Terror, directed by Robert Rodriguez, and Death Proof, directed by Quentin Tarantino. You guys had to be there to understand what was going on. If you didn't get a chance to check it out, the films are now available on DVD and Blu-ray, or even for streaming with some of the streaming services. So you might want to get out there and check it out for a good time at home, catching back on Grindhouse material. So with no further ado, let me introduce my partner in crime into this evening's show. We got Drew Titan in the building. What's going on with you, man? How you doing?
Man, I'm great this evening. And this was a time at the theater. You want to talk about throwback? You see, this is where you young kids miss out, man. Y'all don't have no classics today. If y'all do, I don't see it. But this right here, this is what it was all about right here. Because by the time this came out, Quentin Tarantino, you can tell he was like us. He was a nerd, and he appreciated old style, 70s style movies. And what y'all don't know is, what y'all probably don't know, the term Grindhouse actually meant something. And back in the days, and me and you, we talked about this before, Stormy, you can pay to go see a movie, right? You ever walked in the middle of the movie or towards the end of a film, you was able to sit there and watch the film over up until the point where you walked in at. Like, okay, this is where I was at, and then you can leave. Can't do that no more. But you was able to do that in Grindhouse theaters. I live in New York. There was nothing but Grindhouse theaters on the old 42nd Street. You had the Kung Fu flicks on one side of the street. You had the adult films on the other side of the street. And all the regular movie theaters, they had the regular Hollywood theaters. They had theaters for the B movies. Those are the Grindhouse theaters. And they had double features, triple features. And these were the most low budget, but the most action-packed and over-the-top things you'll ever see in these films. And it had it all. Blaxploitation, the B zombie movies. We got to do a show about that. The B zombie movies were horrible, but they were great. They were horrible,
and gross,
and they were gross, super violent. You know, I saw this. I was watching it on cable a long time ago. The guy said he starred in every bad B movie that you could think of, and he was a zombie, and they showed the scene, and I was like, man, I remember this film. And he said, you know what that was? I just chewed up some crushed tomatoes out of a can. And the guy just said, let it ooze out your mouth. I remember that. And I said, man, that was so disgusting. But things like that. The budget would have maybe about $500. And you'd be lucky to make that money back. With those movies, if I could find every last one of those films. There was a movie called Gates of Hell. That movie scared the crap out of me when I was young. And it was so bad, but man, it was so bad it was good. And
do you
Grindhouse
remember, or do you remember a film, or if you saw it, called Pieces?
You know what? I probably would have to like see it to say, oh, I remember, because there's all those movies I probably saw and I don't remember the names.
There was a chainsaw murderer in that film, and that's what he was doing, just slicing people with a chainsaw.
That's the film. He's cutting people up.
And he was like on a college campus, man. And
Man,
why in the old 70s films, college students were dumb as hell?
Oh, you know what? They were dumb and they were horny. They were dumb and horny. And a lot of them in every film,
horny got him killed.
Being horny got him killed. Hey, Jessica, let's go in the woods. Meanwhile, you're finding dead cats, dead animals. There was a murder there last week. Let's go in the woods, Jessica. And next thing you know, they both decapitated. It was great, man. It was great. Yeah, Brother Reef, I had a friend that talked about the Adams Theater in Newark. That was, oh man, that was a long time ago. I remember hearing that name. I've never been there. But man, and in 42nd Street was the Grindhouse. In Chicago, didn't they have like a strip that was like they had Grindhouse theaters?
Oh, definitely, man. One of the Grindhouse theaters showed both adult films as well as the X-rated films, because you know X rating wasn't only for adult films,
right?
It was for extremely violent films.
Yeah.
So there was a theater here in Chicago, right down in the movie theater district. It was called the Michael Todd Theater, and that theater would show X-rated films, and then they would show extremely violent films. So my first experience of seeing a Sonny Chiba film was playing at the Michael Todd Theater, because that Sonny Chiba, man, you know his films was really graphic. And the Street Fighter, man. Oh. Remember they showed that X-ray shot of the fist smashing the skull?
Can I ask you a question about Sonny Chiba? That one brother that was always in his movies, why was he always getting his nuts ripped off?
I don't know, man. Getting castrated in the Sonny Chiba film, for some reason, that was like high on their list of like torture for somebody. It was like somebody in almost every other Sonny Chiba film getting their stuff ripped off. But it wasn't always the brother though. It was like, because then he did a film called Champion of Death, and there was this guy was a rapist, and he was assaulting these women and stuff, and Sonny Chiba came along and caught the guy and beat him down and everything, and then told his students, because it's like he was teaching karate, Shaolin martial arts in the movie.
Yeah.
So hold the guy down, and he went over there and he took some scissors, and the guy was like, no, and he snipped and then tossed it, right? He tossed it like this, and a dog ran and picked it up and ran away with it. And then when he turned to look at the rapist partner, the dude was sitting there on the ground, and he was like, no. And they showed down between his legs, his pants, and it was like they had a water hose in his pants. And it was like supposed to be him peeing on himself.
You know what? I need that clip, because I'm going to make a short out of that. That is hilarious, man. That is it.
Sonny Chiba was something else, man.
He was something different, man.
That was my man. He knew how to go for it too, man. Oh my goodness. What an era though, right? What an era.
Oh
Those
man.
films, man.
It was great. It was great. To the youngsters, you had to be there. It's one of those things where you had to be there. You had to be there, man. That's how I saw a lot of the B movies. You know, my dad used to take me and my brother down to 42nd Street, and we would watch. That would be our Saturday sometimes. We would watch the Grindhouse films. Do you remember a movie called Wolfen?
Yes.
That would be considered a Grindhouse film because I saw that. And you know, oh man, one of those crazy about that film? That film, I got sick in the theater because of what I ate for breakfast that morning. That was when I found out that I can't eat pancakes. It was strange. We ate and then we went and caught an early show. And I remember sitting, and listen, y'all, Grindhouse, depending on what neighborhood you was in, it also meant the theater was so fugazi. You know what I'm saying? So grimy, man. So we went to this theater, and I remember I had some pancakes. I'm not like a pancakes guy, but I ate some pancakes. And what it is that I'm allergic to eggs. And had the pancakes, and I remember sitting in the theater, and of course we got there, you know, my brother was greedy. Dad, I want some popcorn. He said, all right, I'm gonna go get some popcorn. And we was watching Wolfen. And if you remember Wolfen, the camera work was particular because you was looking through the wolf's eyes.
Yeah, the shaky cam kind of deal.
Yeah.
And,
that didn't help me because the screen shaking. I'm sitting there, I'm like, and my brother's like, oh shoot. He knows. He's like, oh shoot. And before he could tell, hey Pop, I leaned over in the aisle. I threw up like 3 times. You think anyone came and cleaned it up? No, I just leaned over and I just threw up like on the corner of the aisle. There was a dude sitting there eating popcorn. He looked at me. He kept eating the popcorn, watched me, he looked at me again. I threw up like 3 times. Vomit, like by the aisle, by the seat. My pops got some napkins and he threw the napkins on the floor and whatever. And we sat there and watched Wolfen and then had the nerve. You know what came on after that, Stormy? Clones of Bruce Lee. That's why I'll never forget that. It was Wolfen and Clones of Bruce Lee. And vomit on the side of the damn seat, man. Oh my God, but I missed it. I mean, that was...
And Clones of Bruce Lee that's worthy of a show of its own.
Can we do a review of that, please? We got to do that. We know we need to do a whole Bruce Lee doppelganger show. But that movie right there, I remember that. It was Wolfen and then Clones of Bruce Lee. By the time Clones of Bruce Lee started, I felt better. Man, oh man. Oh man, the Grindhouse was a double meaning. Grindhouse was a double feature of 2 B movies, usually super violent, and the movie theater wasn't too family friendly. It wasn't too family. They didn't give a crap about those movie theaters back then. It really didn't.
I got a little synopsis breakdown here about it. It says that Grindhouse is a 2007 American double bill. It consists of 2 films, Planet Terror, a horror comedy written and directed by Robert Rodriguez, about a group of survivors who battled zombie-like creatures, and Death Proof, a slasher film written and directed by Quentin Tarantino about a murderous stuntman who kills young women with modified vehicles. The former stars Rose McGowan, Freddie Rodriguez, Michael Biehn, and Jeff Fahey, Josh Brolin, and Marley Shelton. The latter stars Kurt Russell, Rosario Dawson, Vanessa Fertilio, Jordan Ladd, Sidney Tamila, Pontier, and Tracy Thomas, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and Zoe Bell. Grindhouse pays homage to exploitation films of the 70s, with its title deriving from the now defunct theaters that would show such films. As a part of its theatrical presentation, Grindhouse also features fictitious exploitation trailers directed by Robert Rodriguez, Rob Zombie, Edgar Wright, Eli Roth, and Jason Eisner. The double bill was released theatrically on April 6, 2007, to positive reviews for its tone, thrills, and tribute to exploitation cinema. However, Grindhouse was a commercial failure, grossing only $25.4 million on a $53 to $67 million budget. Due to underperforming at the domestic box office, Planet Terror and Death Proof were released separately in other countries. Initial home media releases also separated Planet Terror and Death Proof, with the theatrical version with both films and fictitious trailers did not appear on home media until 2010. Despite the box office failure, Rodriguez and Tarantino have expressed interest in a possible sequel to Grindhouse's positive reviews and successful home media sales. The fictitious trailers directed by Rodriguez, Eisner, and Roth later became the basis for their feature films Machete, Hobo with a Shotgun, Machete Kills, and Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, bro. Man. Listen, man. Listen. The preview to Thanksgiving, when we saw that in the theater, holy cow. All I'm going to say is the trampoline scene. That was OD. That was crazy. I didn't. Young D's was reminding me about when my dad spilled the popcorn.
Yeah.
I can't stop laughing at that, bro. That's how you know the audience listens when we talk. Oh.
Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know Grindhouse.
You know what's funny, though? When you told that story about your dad and the popcorn spill, I could see my own dad acting the same way. I could see it playing out the same way. That's why it's so funny to me, because I could relate to it, man. Because my dad used to take me to the drive-in all the time, you know, because especially in my age, when I was a little kid, 6, 7, 8 years old, the drive-in was the place to go. Because it was like, what was the drive-in, like $1.50 or $2 or something? I don't know. It was really cheap.
Yeah.
But you know, the refreshments and everything, it was just a good time at the theater. And, you know, sometimes families would get there early, and some drive-ins had like playgrounds for the kids to play with swings and slides and stuff. And it's like the big ass screens, you know, you could get your space where you're going to park or whatever. And I never understood the people who park right up front. I never understood that shit. Because it's like the screen is so big,
like
you
can't
can't
really look up.
There. You know, it's like, that's even worse than sitting in the first rows of a movie theater. Because it's far bigger, you know. We used to go back at least 8 rows.
Right.
You know, where you kind of sitting in the middle. And those big ass speakers they used to hang on the car window.
On the window, yeah. Look what Shogun said. He said the playgrounds are deadly. Yeah, those playgrounds was broke up, man. The drive-in in the Bronx, it was 2 screens. They tore it down, then they put a multiplex there, And then now the multiplex is going, and they got some. It looked like they're building an indoor mall over there now. But my God, good times. Conan the Barbarian came out. It was dangerous because on the Cross Bronx, people used to slow down traffic and park. You have a line of cars on the Cross Bronx, and they'd be the wasn't black people up there. I'll tell you that. It was what we used to call the stoners.
Yeah,
it was the white guys that listened to heavy metal all day with long hair, and they smoking marijuana, and they would be lined up there. And Conan was that screen was facing the highway, and they had a lot of nudity. And the reason why they had it facing the highway is because the other screen was facing the neighborhood. And it was like, come on, you can't have boobs so the Bronx could see it. You have to face it the other way. So it was crazy, man. But it was all good times.
And that's interesting because where the drive-in was, where we used to go, it wasn't in the immediate neighborhood. It was like, how you have forest preserves?
Yeah.
It was usually in areas near something like that where there were no immediate houses for several blocks around.
Right.
You wouldn't be able to see it. And they had these big trees and stuff around it. But I have heard of drive-ins being somewhere where you could be off in the distance driving and you could look over and say, oh, there's a movie playing over there.
Yeah, it was crazy.
The ones that we used to go to, because we used to go to, I think, three different ones, and they were all on the south side of the city, and not in immediate housing areas. But as I got older, housing areas and developments began to come up around the areas near where the drive-ins were, and then the drive-ins started going away. So, and I know, like, where I live now, when I first bought and moved into my house, I didn't realize, but I had drove west of my home, like kind of northwest, and there was still a last remaining drive-in theater there. And I went there once, and then I had said, wow, I'm gonna come back and check out some more movies. And I didn't do it right away. And I think like a year or two later, it closed. I was like, dang, I missed the damn drive-in, but I at least got to go there once before it closed. And I don't even know why it closed. I was like, man. And they had the old time concession on the inside where you had to go with the old machines that made the popcorn and the candy counters and stuff.
Oh man.
And it looked totally dated. It looked like it was from the 40s or 50s or something like that.
Love that, man. Was there a particular, I know we spoke about this before, but this is all relevant to what we're talking about when we say Grindhouse. Everything from crappy theaters to drive-in theaters to the food we ate. There were certain things that I only consumed when I went to the theaters. And one of the things that I consumed was you remember the chocolate snow cones? They were like little chocolate bits.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't remember when the first time I had it was at a Grindhouse. And I said, man, these are kind of good. And every time we went, my dad, what you want? Let me get the snow cones. And the popcorn was mandatory. Snow cones. He didn't hot dogs sometimes. They rarely served hamburgers there. There was a trust issue with the burgers, to be honest. But it was that, and me and my brother would split a 7-Up or a Sprite. But those snow cone candies, I only craved those when I went to the movies. I only crave. Now, nachos weren't around back then, Young Deezy. Nachos was still relatively new. That came along. I think nachos came along in the 90s.
Yeah,
nachos weren't around. It was French fries, which were super greasy, but they taste like heaven with ketchup.
Let me tell you about nachos. Even now, we got like Cinemark movie theaters. And what I like about the Cinemark is they let you get free refills on your popcorn. Yeah. So it don't matter what size you get, you could just get a free refill, you know. So if you just want to get the bag, you could get the bag refilled. What I like to do is get the popcorn and tell them to give me a cup. You know those courtesy cups for water, like little plastic, transparent plastic cups. Fill that up with some peppers. The peppers that you get with your nachos. I tell them to put the peppers in that cup for me, right? And then I put my little extra, it's almost like butter stuff on my popcorn, because you know that it ain't butter, but it's just an oil that you shouldn't be consuming. But when you go to the theater and have popcorn, it's okay. Yeah. Anyway, I put that, and I sit in there, man, and I eat my peppers with my popcorn. That's a good combo, bro. If you haven't tried it, it's good. Now, I'm going to tell you another secret for everybody listening out there. When you get that butter stuff and you put it on your popcorn, right? Say you don't eat all your popcorn. Instead of throwing it out or whatever, take it home, put it in a plastic container or something, and put it in the fridge. You take it out the fridge, even if it go from, a little chilled in the fridge, but it still tastes good. It don't taste that soggy or soft or whatever. Dude, sometimes I take it out and then I sprinkle a little pepper over it. That popcorn is good, man. It's good.
You listen, popcorn, they get you for $40 at the concession stand these days. That's your home. For real. Yep. They now give out they sell the butter dash and nacho that they sell it like the little containers. But just get it from the store and bring it with you. And you put the oil on it and then dump the whatever your flavor is, the nacho cheese, the cheddar cheese or whatever, or the butter flavored powder on it, and eat all your popcorn. Because such a stand, I go with the family, go to the movies. I look, $50 for the tickets and about $40, I think, $100 to go to the movies when I bring the family. That's just what it is now. It's just what it is. But we go, we have a good time. But those Grindhouse, you get the biggest bang for your buck. The biggest bang for the buck, man. You got the biggest bang for the buck. It was great. And I'll never forget watching Wolfen and getting dizzy looking at the screen. And I threw up 3 times. And then my dad bought me a Sprite. He said, this might ease your stomach. And it did, believe it or not. And then I saw the end of Wolfen, didn't care for it. But the Clones of Bruce Lee was so awful, and I loved it. It was so awful. Man,
Bruce Lee number 4.
How did they get away with that stuff, man? Oh, man.
I don't know, man. And you know the worst part of it? None of them dudes look like Bruce Lee.
None of them. Matter of fact, Bruce Lee wasn't even in it. Was he in it?
No, he wasn't. They had him in the credits. I was watching the movie. I was like, I ain't seen Bruce Lee yet. They had one dude who basically lived with his shades on through the whole movie, trying to be Bruce something. And when they asked one guy, they had everybody's name was Dragon. The one guy was Dragon Hong, one guy was Dragon Young, one guy was Dragon Long. And I was like, and then they would talk to each other, and the guy say, hey, this is Dragon Hong. He's like, Dragon Hong? Well, I'm Dragon Long. And the guy say, and I'm Dragon Long. And I'm like, okay, the Three Stooges, they keep introducing themselves to each other. I'm Dragon Young, and I'm Dragon Hong. And I'm like, is that really what they were saying in the script, or did they just dub it like that? Because I was like, I got sick of them. They did that like 3 or 4 times in the movie.
Yo,
One dude walked around with his shirt off all the time because he had abs, right?
I remember that.
But he was skinny. You could have abs like that when you skinny like him. He was like so skinny, it looked like he needed a meal. You know what I'm saying? He had a big old head and a skinny body, and he's walking around in some them jacked up 70s Speedo shorts because they had the stripes in them and stuff. He walking around on the beach and those like, I'm like, Bruce Lee never walked. What are we looking at?
Oh man!
And I'm not lying. You know I'm not lying. This was all in the movie, man.
Man,
and one dude had a permanent Bruce Lee scowl on his face, like every time you saw him, he was, yeah.
Oh, it was so over the top. It was so over the top, man. But I loved it. By the time that came on, I felt better. I got the eggs out my system. But my God, man, that was hilarious, man. I do remember that. The clones of Wolfen and the clones of Bruce Lee.
Crazy stuff, man. The stuff that you would see at a Grindhouse theater, though. Let me take a quick moment and acknowledge our brother EJ out there with a Cash App donation. Thank you, EJ. He says, phenomenal selection for Nerds on Culture. Thank you, bro. Yeah, we just be trying to, keep you guys engaged with this, man. It's like there's so much to cover. We would never run out of subjects for this show. You know that, right? It's like, this is crazy, man. This is so crazy. But let's get to this. Now, run us through Death Proof, because like I said, that's the one that I vaguely remember because I saw Planet Terror just again like a week ago. So take us through that. That's the one with the car, Death Proof, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Stuntman Mike. Oh boy. Now, you gotta realize Quentin Tarantino likes to write. And a lot of movies that he does, there's a lot of dialogue. And sometimes if you don't appreciate writing and stuff, you'll get lost. You'll be like, damn, when is the action gonna start? This right here, this is the advertisement, this is the poster for it. This is right out of a 70s. You can look up any 70s trailer or poster. A lot of the movies look like that. It looked
like David Carradine was in movies like Death Race 2000.
Yeah,
back in the 70s, and that was the kind of poster you would see for it.
Right. So they have the first set of women, and I'm saying first set because a lot of people you're trying to warm up and find out what this is about. And the first group of women are talking, and it's a lot of dialogue, and you're like, what's going on in this film? Well, cutting through the rigmarole, one of these ladies are at a bar, and she meets a guy named Mike, and he drove this car. What was this car, Stormy? Was it a Mustang?
That was, if I'm not mistaken, that was a Chevy SS, I think. A Chevy, I think that was. Was, like the Dukes of Hazzard's car.
Yeah.
That was a Dodge that they drove, but I don't think this was a Dodge. I think it was a Chevy.
Well, he meets this guy. This is so bad that I'm laughing. It was a Charger, Young Diesel. It may have been.
Because they back in that time, several of the American muscle cars, they had body styles and shapes that were similar, like they do cars of today. The same thing, yes. But back then, because Chevy had a car called the Chevelle,
I remember
that was like a muscle car, like a Charger but it was a Chevy version of it, and that car had like a 450 engine or something in it. Those cars were really nice, man, really nice. You see, in the Fast and Furious, they have it in there.
Yeah. So Mike meets this young lady at a bar, and they're having some dialogue or whatever. So he offers to drive her home, and she gets to the car. He sits down, and she's looking at the passenger seat, and it's like a little stool. It's not like a regular seat. And his part of his car is cut off for the rest of the car. And it's like plexiglass, like he's at like a bank like booth. And she's like, well, what's going on here? He says, oh, I'm a stunt man. And that's usually where the cameraman sits or whatever. And it's all right. You know, you can just sit there. I'll take you home, whatever. So he put the seat in it. He screwed it down. She sits in it, and he starts driving. And I forgot the exact dialogue that the line that he gave her. But he starts cutting these corners and bouncing her around. There was no seatbelt. Bouncing her around the car, and she busts her nose, and you should hear the sound effects. Splat, splat, splat. Giving her a crazy concussion. And he basically deleted her in the car. Now, he deleted that girl, right? So she gone. Now, I mean, it's a little vague right here, but he ends up meeting Rosario Dawson and her crew of women, right? No, I'm sorry. I'm missing a part. There was another group of women, and they were just out and about being free, whatever. He found them, right? And they're driving up the highway. He starts driving down the highway, right? And hits them dead on collision. And it is the most violent, most brutal collision you can ever see. I forget how many women were in this, and I'm laughing again, how many women were in this car. But one of their legs came off. They mangled them. But he survived, right? Of course, because he did it on purpose. So the police was like, I don't know how this happened, but it's looking like he did this on purpose. We can't figure it out. But there was a cop that was on to him. So they're trying to figure out what drove him to do this. So he's saying it was an accident. Their lights weren't on and all kinds of stuff, right? So then he comes across Rosario Dawson and her crew. And man, the movie went bonkers. So he ends up getting into it with them. And he's trying to run them off the road because they're like thrill seekers. I think they were stunt women, as a matter of fact, Stormy.
Yeah.
I think they were stunt women. So one of the white chicks was on the hood of the car, and and then Stuntman Mike starts chasing them, right? Trying to run them off the road, and he was sick. He was like, "Yeah, you like that? This make you hot?" And like he was sick, and scared them half to death. Crashed the car, but they all survived. And in true 70s Grindhouse films, the women decide, we're going to get this dude. We're going to take revenge. And then they started chasing his ass. And that's when the movie took a turn. And it was hilarious. It was hilarious. They started chasing him down, and now he's on the defensive. And eventually, they get him. He crashes his car. I mean, it's mangled. And he's hanging out the car, and he's screaming in the hot. And the scream he's letting out, because he's in pain, he's caught halfway into the car, and he's screaming at a high-pitched tone like, ah, 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 ah. And they yanked him out, and they proceeded to whoop his behind. And like I said, in true 70s fashion, Quentin Tarantino is a genius. He paid attention to camera work and dialogue and direction. You could tell he's a true student of that. When they were beating the crap out of him, boom, 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 and then when he fell, the film ended. What the reason why the theater erupted was because that's how those movies used to end.
Yeah, man. You know, that's the thing that about Grindhouse too. Let's speak on that for a moment, because films would be going and you'd be all amped up and everything, and then boom, that's it.
Ends. It's like, what? And it ended. He was on the floor, and right before they rolled the credits, Rosario Dawson does the kung fu axe kick and drops it on his face. It cracks his face. It was funny as hell. And the movie just ended. And I say, yo, that's how all the people, we were all the same age. We was like, yo, the movies used to end like that. Like, yo, man, the younger kids didn't get it. All the cats my age was like, yo, they used to end like that, remember? And it was white people, black people, Spanish people. We was like, yo, in the 70s, the movies used to end like that. It was crazy. Oh, man, that was
man. Those movies would end like that, man. Like, you ever see Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid?
Yes.
When they went out in a blaze of glory,
and it just ended.
It just ended like that. It's like they went out. They was like, "You got your." He's like, "How much you got on you?" They checking their ammo and stuff, and they go out there because they were surrounded, and they just went out like freeze frame.
Freeze frame. Yep. Bruce Lee did it in Chinese Connection.
Yep, and he said he got that from Butch Cassidy.
He got that from Butch,
because he told the director, he was like, the best way to end this film is to have the hero go out in a blaze of glory, like face all the police that's ready to take him in, and he says, "Fuck that, I'm going for it," and jumps out at the police, and the picture frame freezes, and that's it. That's the end of the movie. They used to do that a lot, bro. They used to. You remember Chuck Norris' Silent Rage? When he finally threw the killer over into that water well, and then, you know, they thought he was dead when they went in there, and he, as the sheriff, you know, and the lady that he saved, and they got up and they were walking, and she had her arm around him, he had his arm around her, and they were walking off, and then the camera went over into the well, and it slowly went down, and it got dark because it going deeper and deeper into the well, and the credits started rolling, and then dude came up out the water like that, and it freeze frame, and it's like, oh no, he's still alive. And I thought they were going to make a sequel to it, but they never made a sequel to Silent Rage.
Hanging, man, that was funny.
Wasn't that in the list that we said for the sequels that we never got?
Yeah,
because we did a show. We did a show, sequels that we never got.
There's more. One of them. Oh man, that was hilarious, man.
But Grindhouse, man, it meant so much. You know, films like the old Pam Grier films, Black Mama, White Mama. Remember that?
Yeah.
Films like that,
shoot.
man.
Man.
Caged Heat, where they had all those women in prison and they was like fighting and stuff. Man,
now you know I didn't.
From the 70s were rough, man.
You know I had to sneak and see that. I was young.
There was always a scene where they get the fighting and stuff, and a boob pop out. You know, it's like
they were like, they fighting. It's like, oh shoot. Pam Grier, Lord have mercy. Them things sat up. She be fighting, bop, bop, bop. Like, damn
it. Fighting bucket naked, you know. But yeah, man, those movies were something else, bro. They were something else.
If y'all never saw Grindhouse, I mean, watch both. Watch both. cook your favorite meal and watch it. Cook your favorite meal and watch it. Because Quentin Tarantino, man, you can tell whatever he came up in and loved, man. You can tell, man.
I think I had read somewhere that he used to be one of the guys that worked in one of those mom and pop video stores.
Yeah.
So he had access to so many movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And he was a nerd like us for films, and somehow, some way, he caught a break in Hollywood, and the rest is history for him. But he's always, he's kind of got a warped mind anyway, but he's done some very interesting films in his career, though. Very interesting films. But his dialogue is always pretty damn good. That's the one thing you can say, because it depends on his... One of the things I could say about him is his films always follow some type of theme.
Yeah.
Like Reservoir Dogs was like a heist film, Heist Gone Bad or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
And you had Mr. Orange and Mr. Green and Mr. Blue and all them guys. And that scene, bro, we got to do a show on that movie too. That scene when Michael Madsen, man, when he cut old boy ear off.
Man.
He was like, he had dude's ear. He was like, hello, can you hear me?
I think
and he got the dancing. I'm alone tonight. He was
the only thing that the younger cats that don't appreciate dialogue, they were like, man, I wanted to see the robbery and how it went wrong. It's like, man, you gotta use your imagination, man. And that movie ended in a bit of a cliffhanger, a little bit. That was crazy, man. Reservoir Dogs. Yeah, but
Hateful Eight,
Yeah.
The Hateful Eight was something else. Of course, Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction was crazy.
What do they call a Big Mac what do they call a quarter pounder with cheese in the UK? A Royale with cheese.
A Royal.
That was John Travolta, remember? Royale with cheese.
That's crazy. Yeah, the what you call it? Dusk Till Dawn. He that was George Clooney's breakout film.
Yeah.
Got him super popular. That tattoo he had in that film. Now many cats ran out and got that tattoo.
Yeah.
It was cops running around with that same tattoo. It's crazy, man. That movie turned crazy when you figured out they were all vampires. The band on the stage were playing with body parts. It just went nuts. It went from 1 minute. It went all the way left. I was like, yo, you see the dude playing the guitar? That's a body with the guts and strings. It was crazy. General, salute.
To the general out there, he says, if y'all ever done Bloodsport, Hateful Eight is one of my favorites. We haven't done Bloodsport.
Oh, nah, we got to do that.
Yeah, we got to do Bloodsport.
And it's important that we do Bloodsport because Van Damme brought a martial arts film back in that era. He brought it back. And the reemergence of Bolo Yun.
Yeah, the muscles from Brussels.
Yup. When we do Bloodsport, he want a link for Bloodsport. Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah, we'll do Bloodsport. I gotta put it in my little journal here, so I don't forget about it.
When that came out, 87? Bloodsport came out 87? Yeah. 87, 88. Bloodsport came out, I was in junior high school. I remember going to the movies to see that. My pops took me, of course. Yep, Van Damme. He's having issues now. I think Van Damme's having a bit of mental issues.
Yeah. We
You know, he changed his life.
That's what I say. We live long enough, man. Things happen, bro. They happen. I keep telling people, I say, you know, I'm old. People think like when I say that, I just be talking. I'm like, no, bro. And it's not a matter of like trying to be like, oh, I'm brittle, this or that. It's like, no, I've accepted the reality.
Right.
The age that I am, I'm thankful. You know, blessings to the Lord for bringing me this far. But I'm gonna tell you, as people walk around here and they think that they good, and you might not be as good as you think you are. It's okay. You can have the mental strength and all of that, but it just takes one snap of a finger to put you in the realization of like, wow.
Yeah, I could tell you some things about guys that I came up with. They're not all of them are doing too well, and it has everything to do. It has nothing to do with drugs or nothing like that. They just whatever they have going on in their, you know, bloodline. It's hitting them now.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Like you just said about Van Damme. When you see him in Bloodsport, you see how in great condition and shape he was physically and all of that. And he's probably a few years older than me, but at the same time, I think Van Damme might be about 64, 65 years old, maybe something like that.
Yeah, around that.
But think about that. It's like, and I saw that clip you put up on IG recently with Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris is like 80 years old, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can tell.
And I never, and because I don't see him on the screen no more, I don't see the 80-year-old Chuck Norris. I see the guy who was in the movies and stuff, right?
Right.
But he's been out of movies for a very long time. And when Gene Hackman passed away a few weeks ago, when they showed him, you know, because they talk about him and they show him from different movies he was in and stuff. I didn't know he was that old and brittle. Gene Hackman, they wondering how he died. He probably, his heart just stopped. The dude was like 90 years old.
Damn. They said
when you looked at him, he looked like a skinny cartoon caricature of himself. He had a thick mustache, but I'm like, that's not the Gene Hackman I remember.
Right.
But that's the real man. You know, he's old. He was old.
Yeah.
Keep telling I keep talking about my age. I think I look okay for my age, but it's like, dude, it's people that I went to school with and everything, and I see them and I'm like, holy crap. And you know, and it's not like something bad happened to him. It's like age hits us all a little differently, you know?
Sure does. Sure does, man. There's certain things you just can't do anymore. You know, it's in the mind. There's a few guys, like a guy I grew up with. I mean, I wasn't like super close with him, but he had like some sort of mental breakdown, and he pushed somebody in front of the damn train, man. But people were telling me for years, it's like, yo, he's not well. When you talk to him, you see him, there's like, you just talk to him and you'll hear it. And I did speak to him, and I'm like, oh man, he's messed up. And then I'll send you the article. He pushed him. The guy didn't die, but he pushed him in front of the damn train, man. And it was wrong with him. It was like, yo, he was losing it for a long time. And
I mean, look at Bruce Willis. He can't even act anymore or whatever. He went into dementia. It's like one minute he was okay, the next minute he couldn't remember what he had just did 5 minutes ago. And it's like the family was like, oh man, this is serious. And they had to pull him back from, you know.
Yeah, the last movie he did with dialogue was Expendables, I think. And then they pulled him from, he had a list of things lined up, and they said, look, he can't do it. And then he had a birthday, and they aired it on Instagram, and I couldn't believe what I was looking at.
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
he's messed up, man. It's, oh my gosh, man.
And see, you don't even, when you hear about something like that, sometimes you just kind of would rather be gone, right? Because it's like your quality of life has changed forever. And it's like somebody got to care for you, almost like a child, you know? And it's like, it only is going to get worse. You'll forget how to eat. They'll be feeding you. Then your body will break down where you're not digesting anymore or whatever. That's a painful, slow death, man.
Yeah. Sucks, man. Anyway, let's bring it back to Planet Terror.
Yeah, man, that's the one I watched last week.
Take us through Planet Terror. Oh,
man, Planet Terror, bro. First of all, what was going on with Josh Brolin and his wife, man?
They never explained anything.
They didn't. It's just like that was a subplot.
She's sitting there, she just sitting there just looking. I was like, what happened to her? They don't explain anything.
Dude, that film right there, and it was one of the most gross things. They have a zombie apocalypse taking place in this film. And Josh Brolin happens to be a medical doctor at a hospital in a town, and he and his wife are having marital problems. And you know, he thinks she's cheating on him, and she's ready to leave him, and it's just some stuff going on. And you see on the poster here, they got Bruce Willis. He's supposed to be part of a military group that's trying to track down some kind of a chemical, like a virus thing that's under containment.
Yeah.
But it's to help fight against the zombies, which we don't know until they start popping up. It's like the zombies just pop up out of nowhere with no explanation too. Remember, it was like we go from when that guy who was like, I guess he was like a what do you call them guys? He was like a dealer, and he was meeting up with that other guy, and they tried to cross him or whatever, and he had this thing where he was collecting people's scrotum. Remember that?
Yes.
What the hell? He was collecting scrotums, man. And he was putting them in this thing. And he was telling them, like, after the deal is done, you know what to do. And the guy pulled the tool out. The dude was like, no, what are you doing?
This man, it was
so
much
when
going on.
Bruce Willis showed up and told him he was taking over, and dude was like, no, they had a shootout and everything. And dude, when they took him down, his glass case where he was keeping the scrotums fell on the ground, and there was scrotums everywhere. And then he fell on top of them, and they was in his mouth. Remember?
Oh man, that was bad, man. That was bad. That was so man. There was so many in the theater. There was so many moments. Oh man, I remember that.
Dude, that was gross.
Yo, wait, Stormy. Do you remember when she numbed up her hands and she couldn't, like, she was trying to get into the car?
Yeah, and she slipped, and her wrist was in between the door handle. Her wrist was in between the door handle, and her feet slipped on the wet concrete, and her wrist was in between, and she fell, and it broke her wrist.
Bro, wait a minute. I'm gonna eat your brains and take your knowledge, little boy. Yo, am I wrong for laughing when he caught it?
Nope.
You know, man, I laughed. I did. I said, "Oh snap!" They did. Yo, Quentin Tarantino, he's a mother effer, man. I was like, "What the fuck? What They just killed that kid.
Man.
They were doing things for no reason. Like, for instance, when they were in the vehicle getting away, why did the dog jump out and do that?
Listen, what about when they was in the hospital and the guy had asked Josh Brolin, he said, "You think we should get out of here?" And he was like, "No, we gotta stay. I gotta get my wife." Remember?
Yep.
And then he went after his wife and he started like, what did he do? He injected her or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then one of the zombies came after him. It was like old boy who had turned into a zombie. But when he got Josh Brolin up against the wall, he was like, ah. And Brolin was like, ah, shit, you know. And then he squeezed that stuff on his face.
That was ridiculous.
And he rubbed it on Josh Brolin.
That was ridiculous, man. That was ridiculous. I said, what are they doing in this film, bro?
He rubbed it on him. He didn't spit on him. He didn't let it splatter. He rubbed it on him like, take that, motherfucker.
What the hell was going on in this movie, bro?
Man, let me tell you something.
Yo.
I had to pause the movie. I was watching it last week. I had to pause it. I was laughing so hard. I had to stop for a few minutes. I said I need a timeout. That's how you know a movie is good.
Did you think that the Indian dude was about to get busy when he said, "I got this"? And he stuck his head around the corner. He looked, gave a thumbs up. When he went back around the corner, they blew his head off. Yo, we was in the theater like, oh shit, yo, that was mad.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna get busy. He looked, then he looked around, he ran back out, he looked, boom, dead. Yo, I was screaming.
And what was up with that dude with that little shack offering everybody some barbecue and shit? What the fuck?
What was that? What? Man,
I was like, man, if you don't get the hell out of here with that barbecue.
There was so many unanswered questions about like random things happening. And he was like, I didn't know you was the real El Rey. I was like, okay, well, who is El Rey? Can we get a backstory on El Rey?
Man, that man. And how about when old boy, you know, he and Rose McGowan, right? Okay, he was like, come on, let's go. She was like, I can't. He was like, come on, get up, we gotta get out of here. She was like, I can't walk. And she pulled the cover back. And you see where they had amputated her leg, you know, from the accident. He grabbed the table leg and stuck it in.
Gave her a kickstand.
He said, but man, when they got back to the place where they were like, you know, bunkering down for a moment, how he gonna have sex with the lady? She got a peg leg.
Wait a minute, Stormy.
Wait. Let me finish. And then he was doing doggies. Stop! What? Dude, he was doing doggy style. And she had a big leg. Oh man.
Do you remember what they did with that scene though?
What'd you say?
You remember what they did with that scene? That was genius. it made it seem like the tape burned, and they
Yeah.
cut a lot of it out. And what people don't know, see, when I saw that, you can tell who didn't know anything about that. You see, our age group, we knew that was on purpose.
Right.
The younger cats was looking at it was like, yo, what's going on? I was like, nah, reels really used to do that back in the day.
Yeah.
Know what I mean? Oh, that was funny.
Dude,
Oh,
I was
that's
cracking up, man. I told you I had to pause that movie, man. I'm looking at this stuff. I was like, man. But you have to know, like you just said, Grindhouse, what that was all. It's like that stuff was over the top. It was like, it was well done, man. It was well done. And when they were driving down the street, running over zombies and stuff,
The world was changed. That was so crazy. Bruce Willis's team, they were allegedly the team that took out bin Laden.
yeah,
They were exposed to some chemical. And if they didn't have that special stuff on, they would freak out and turn to these yo, you remember when Quentin Tarantino's character tried to grape the girl?
yeah, man.
What the hell? And he didn't have his stuff on. He started turning into this monster, and his junk kind of fell off. He said, we're gonna have to make this quick. I was like, oh my God. Oh
Man.
oh. This was it was so throwback. And to see this in the movies, this was so throwback. This was so throwback, man.
Yeah.
Man, that's funny as hell.
Very entertaining, bro. Very entertaining.
Now-
And like I said, this is what it's all about, too. You know, being able to watch these kind of films and see what's happening. It's like, man.
Now, did they say they were doing the Thanksgiving movie, or they thought about it?
They were talking about making more, but there was a couple of films that did happen, like that Machete. I think that they did.
Machete was a commercial in Grindhouse, and they ended up making it a movie, which was brilliant. And Thanksgiving was the other one. They should have did that because it was ridiculous, man. The coming attractions, they did coming attractions in this. Oh man, this was great, man. And you know what? When you saw it in the theaters, Quentin made sure they played the old concession stand commercials.
Mm-hmm.
He played them. Man, great stuff, man. Great stuff. When I went to Universal Studios in Florida, we stayed at a hotel. The property was throwback. It was based off of the 50s and some of the 60s. And that was the theme in the property we stayed at. And at the restaurant, they had screens up, and they played all the old commercials you could think of. Nestle Quick, Woody Woodpecker, like they played an Ovaltine commercial. When's the last time you saw that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was wild. And I'm just sitting there looking at this stuff. I said, most of this stuff I don't remember. Some of the stuff I did. I held my phone up and I recorded some of it. When I got back home, I showed it to my dad. I said, you remember this stuff? He said, I remember all of this. It used to come on TV. The nostalgia is crazy, man. Crazy. And shout out to Quentin Tarantino, man. Y'all never seen Planet Terror? You will not be listen, go to the bathroom. Don't move. Do not move. There's so much going on. There's so much stuff. There's things going on that you're like, why'd that happen? Like when they were getting away with that dog, the dude's dog, for whatever reason, the dog jumped up and jumped out the truck and got ran over. And he was like, God damn it. We was in the theater like, why'd the dog even do that? Who wrote that? Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff.
Yeah. Boy, I tell you, man. See, we come up with these ideas, man. We come up with them.
Yep. Oh my God, he put a table leg on him. Oh man. Yeah, Young DZ. Robert Rodriguez directed it. He's sick. Robert Rodriguez is sick too. But these sick people make the best films, man.
Yeah, they do.
And you knew what you was getting with Grindhouse. It wasn't getting Academy Award. I knew what I was walking into, and I appreciate it. That was fascinating.
Yeah.
Death Proof and Planet Terror. I think the ass whooping in Planet Terror is on, in Death Proof, it's on YouTube. The ending, it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh man, and how it ended, it just so abruptly, was brilliant. So brilliant.
But I could think of so many, not necessarily off the top of my head, but there were a lot of films that I saw that ended like that. Just abrupt. It's like it's in the midst of action and then something happens and that's it. They freeze frame and it's over. And you be like, damn, that's it. It's like it just leaves that impact on you,
How many horror B movies can you remember? Because we need to review some of those. Those things was bad. I remember Gates of Hell. That I remember. It was like, you want to talk about over the top violence? Zooming in on things you ain't need to zoom in on. There was a scene with a power drill in there. It's crazy, man. Gates of Hell. Hendog said The Collector. Clarence, what up, brother? But there's like a litness of, any movie with the Scream Queen in it. That white woman. She got murked like in every film she was in. She had blonde hair. She's still around today. They call her the Scream Queen. I follow her on Instagram too, I think. Oh man. That's funny as hell, man. But if y'all haven't seen Grindhouse, there's something wrong with y'all, man. Definitely something wrong with y'all. El Ray. Rose McGowan, that's her name? Hold on, let me look that up real quick. Rose McGowan. Is this her?
No, Rose McGowan is the girl in Planet Terror, had the peg leg.
Oh, no. I'm not talking about her. Scream Queen. No. What is this woman's name? I know her by face.
What was she in?
Any B movie. Not her. What is her name? Because they actually had her on daytime TV on one of these shows.
I got a box set of some old Hammer horror films that are starring Oliver Reed. Back in those days, used to play in several of those films. Do you know that Oliver Reed, as a young man, you know who looks like him now? That's at the age that he was when he was making those films? Freaking Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill looks just like Oliver Reed looked when Oliver Reed was a real young man.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, wait, hold on. Wait, you right.
Oliver Reed and Henry Cavill could be relatives. He looks just like him. And, because Oliver Reed played in a lot of Hammer films, and those films when they first went from black and white to color. Yeah.
Yup. Wait, hold on. I'm trying to find.
His last film was Gladiator with Russell Crowe. That was Oliver Reed's last film. He he passed away when they were making that film, and they had to digitally use his likeness to finish some scenes with him. That was one of the first films that they used that type of special effects, because it wasn't like they had to use a lot. But because he passed, there were certain scenes that they couldn't shoot.
Right,
So
right.
they reanimated him in certain scenes that you know. So yeah.
Let me see. Scream Queen.
Indog says like Clint Eastwood and Hugh Jackman. Yeah, Hugh looks a little bit like Clint when Clint was a younger man, but you know who really looked like Clint? His son. My goodness, his son looked like the spitting image of him as a young man. Have you seen Clint Eastwood's son, Scott?
I think I have.
Pull his picture up. We just type in Scott Eastwood. He was on the cover of a Chicago magazine a couple of years back.
Oh, shoot.
He looked so much like his dad. It was like, damn, that looks like his dad. It's like,
nah, he does. That's crazy.
have you ever seen someone look as much like their parent as that? I know that what's his name? That played in the Lost Boys looks like his dad. But Donald Sutherland and his son Kiefer. But Scott looks so much like Clint. It's unbelievable. If they ever wanted somebody to play his life story, you just get his son.
Yeah,
to play.
you gotta do that. That's incredible. That is incredible. Wow. I can't get this woman's name. I'll have it for you, but I can't think of her name. The original.
Yeah.
Scream.
But we about coming to an end because I know you got to do your show, right?
Yep.
So final thoughts, bro. Final thoughts on this, man. The Grindhouse experience.
If y'all never seen Planet Terror or Death Proof from 2007, it's a fun watch. All right, get your favorite meal, watch it. But it comes from how we grew up. The original Grindhouse films was something special, and this was nostalgia. Going to watch this in the movie theater was a great time. So yes, another slam dunk, and I highly recommend these films. Highly.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
These films are what we call a darn good time. You know, good 2 hours of your time to sit down and have something to eat and drink and watch. Man.
Yep.
This is that.
This
So
is
yeah,
awesome.
I
said this is awesome.
Yeah. So we're gonna take this time to get on up out of here. For those of you gonna remain online, take your positive energy over to the Painful Excellence podcast that'll be coming up in about 5 minutes or so. Drew is gonna be over there. Drew, thank you again, brother, for joining me on here where we can do what we do best. Talk about these aspects of our culture, man. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
So
Hey,
all right, peace to you, bro.
peace.
Yeah, for the rest of you guys out here, man, we're gonna get ready to head on out, but gotta pay the bills. Got a couple advertisements that we want to play first before we head out. But I want to thank everybody that came out for the Cash App donations and everything, man. You guys are real troopers for supporting us. So, that being said, let's take it to our advertisements.
Y'all know what it is. It's the usual suspect 650-50 draw. Buy your tickets now for your chance at winning half the pot. Cash App, $ usual 50-50. Tickets on sale for $10 for one, $20 for 3 tickets, and $50 for 10 tickets. Put your desired amount, name or alias, as well as your email address, and your tickets will be set. We announce the winning ticket numbers every other Friday on Supreme Beats Boxing Talk Bullshitting on the Beltway, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Remaining proceeds will go directly to the LDBC meet and greet in Las Vegas. Shout out to the LDBC. And remember,
It's a usual suspect take.
y'all know what it is. It's the Find the Boxer game. Purchase a box for a chance at winning $500. One of 54 boxes has a missing boxer inside. Purchase your box or boxes by Cash Apping $ usual 50/50. Include your box number, name, and email address. Your box number will be confirmed and sent directly to your email. Each box is $20 with a 1 in 54 chance of winning. Remaining proceeds will go directly to the LDBC meet and greet in Las Vegas. Shout out to the LDBC. And remember,
It's a usual suspect take.
Yeah. So get you some of that merchandise, man. We got a lot going on out here. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in this evening, man. It's been another great slam dunk of the Nerds on Culture. Tonight we feature Death Proof, Planet Terror from 2007, the Grindhouse Productions by Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez. If you haven't had a chance to check those out, please do yourself a solid and do so. But we're going to head on out. I want to say shout out to the mighty LDBC, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Peace to everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week.